Good morning, family. How's everybody doing? You guys like the intro? Hmm. How are you guys doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Number one son. Wow. First. What an honor, huh? What an honor for me. How are you doing, sir? Hopefully you're having a great morning. Been a very interesting morning at the very least. I'm over here watching a nasty reversal happen on the uh, S&P 500 and the broad market in general. There's a lot of things that were happening throughout yesterday, and it's just interesting at the very least. We'll go through many things today. We will talk about what is exactly happening, some of the weird things that could evolve by the end of this week on this Friday, especially many puts that are expiring this Friday, uh, either deep into the money or probably they've been exercised or they've been, uh, sold for a minimal profit as AMC just been bouncing between smaller ranges. But that's a way for hedge funds to try to completely keep us within a certain range um, until a judgment is brought out. So now it's just interesting to see how this crazy broad reversal, like this came out of nowhere, literally, like to see this and that uh, on the S&P 500. This is very similar to, as you can see here, back in yesterday. It hit the bottom yesterday. It hit the same bottom today, and then it went back on up. Um, it's still not out of the woodworks. I think that this is all, I'm watching like the options chain, and it's all algorithmic. I mean, it's crazy how there was so many more put to call ratio, and now it's the complete exact opposite. Like, this is all algorithmic. This is all this right here, from here on out to here. Crazy buying pressure. Will it be enough to break yesterday's high? Let's see. If it doesn't, then I think it's going to have a very strong pullback down. This is just on the S&P 500. We're also anticipating tomorrow's earnings for Tesla, and watching here how Tesla has just been trading within a certain range, which is so unlike Tesla. As you guys can see here, this is also a very a very manipulated algorithm right here, where a big whale could just jump in, perhaps a market maker could jump in and set the tone for the algorithms for the day. As you guys can see, like for Tesla, especially with earnings season tomorrow, they have their earnings coming up. This is wild that it's just changing, like, trading between like almost about a $4 range, which is insane. That's a 1%. Tesla is a highly volatile stock, and that's just not going to be the case. Something will have to give today, unless they're kicking the can for tomorrow to see. We've had many weeks where algorithms would either be switched for market makers, where they would have Mondays and Tuesdays / Wednesdays being red days, and then Thursdays and Fridays it'll just subside, or quite the opposite. Recently, to give just a fair warning to that analogy, it's been always like that for the past year or so. However, recently, the S&P 500 have barely had any red days in general. I think we had probably just one last week, for the first time in like 10 trading days, or 8 trading days. So like it's a rarity. Obviously, the market is being propped up heavily for what I feel and think and almost wholeheartedly believe, without giving any advice, is going to be completely reevaluated soon in this third quarter of this year slash going on to the end of this year. After all, they always want to give out a window for themselves for to make more profits at the expense of the taxpayer dollars. Because when the plunge protection team and the markets are being propped up, you're always going to have the effect. Where's that money coming from? Well, of course, you got the treasuries, you got the feds, you got all that stuff, and of course, is being propped up with taxpayer money for the most part. And then eventually, as it's propped up, that entire side that is technically always trying to scam us and take money from us and transfer wealth from us over to them, siphon it to the top, they're all going to load up on crazy amounts of shorts or puts on the entire market, sending it down. And that's when they will say, at that same time, I have a strong belief that at that very same time, we're going to have our moment of rise to ascension, an ascension to where we rightfully supposed to be, like the meme stocks when I say we. And if you've noticed this, right here, like we're up, for example, right now, look at this, 3%, crazy prop up, right? With the entire market. I feel like when, like we're 3% up on AMC, about almost 2% up on GME. Some other memes like SPC is up 2%. You're going to see a bunch of these stocks being traded highly in weird ranges. We're going to look at BBIG today and see what's happening, especially with the past week or so movement. Like the fact that we're watching this, again, knowing what the feds are doing, the fact that they're getting their numbers on the CPI, and the funny thing is that they're not even going off of the CPI, because the most important thing to them is the core CPI. And the core CPI is like what they're going after to get it down to as close to 2%. And that's their goal. And that's why I say that you're going to get 0.25% at the end of this month, I project. And then in the same time, they're going to be, this is interesting, by the way, watching that we are here. I just would love for us to stay above this range right here for the entire day, and perhaps more. The more the merrier. But above 448 is an amazing place to be at. And eventually, I think that, as I've told you guys for many months, if you guys remember, maybe we'll look throughout the stream. We'll go back and look at some of the videos or the lives that we've done in the past few months. And there was a few videos where I was explaining to you guys how, especially, and this was back like in March and February when the SVB thing was happening, and I was explaining to you guys how that was good for the big banks and everything. Now, from 4 months ago, now that's becoming main news to many people. Now people are catching on to it, and it's still even too early. But if you've been here, you've heard this being explained to you as how the major banks, the JP Morgans, the Bank of Americas, the Goldmans, these are all banks that are being protected by the Feds so far, while they should be the ones that are falling. With our same money, taxpayer money, are being propped up nonstop. It's inevitable what will happen to the smaller community banks, and you could go back and watch from literally 4 months ago with the whole SVB saga, what I was explaining and telling everybody how this whole thing will play out, and eventually through the later part of this year, maybe after August, at some point, that's when the countdown, I feel like, will start. Maybe in August / all the way leading up to December. I feel like there's something major that's going to crack down eventually when the top is met in this movement, in this S&P 500 weird to the top bullish movement, where it says that, oh man, the recession is over, we're going to have a soft landing. Yeah, all right. You could have a soft landing in what? Doing what? in meeting your CPI, but the core CPI is not anything close to it. You've rigged the parameters of calculating the data. In the same time, you like you hike the rates anymore. What other banks are gonna completely default? So it's one for two, whichever one they would like. Basically, you could have inflation or you could have an economy. In the same time, if you take off the rate hikes, then the interest rates are gonna cool off, but inflation will go right back up to an unbelievable imaginary heights. So which one do you want? That's why the whole theory of soft landing was nothing but a story, in my humble opinion, given out to the public so that they could feel certainty. They could feel like that things are going to be all right. You know, there's a lot of people out there who just want to hear things they want to hear, like, don't worry, things are going to be all right. And that's what they're doing here. Until it hits, they all will just say, well, we thought we had it, but we didn't know that these banks were under risk and stress and all this stuff. We will take care of these SIB banks, these list of the systematically important banks, and all the other ones. You know, hopefully none of these big banks are exposed to them, because when SVB went down, guess what? And that's still not done. People think that that's over with. It went down, but they're still looking for people to do their Lehman Brothers situation, like what happened with Charles Schwab. They're still looking for people to take care of that. So that's not over with. That's still in the shadows. And watch for that to make a comeback in the news, in the mainstream, probably within a month or two. And that story will come right out of the grave, and people are going to be like, what? I thought that was over. Why are we just now dealing with this? Well, you're not going to be confused. If you're listening to this, you're not going to be confused, because I'm keeping you posted on the events that are unfolding in front of us. Let alone all the other big banks are still exposed to many other things similar to bad mortgages, bad international dealings, and taking losses. In the same time, they are exposed to these community banks here, and whichever ones they're not taking care of right now, what the American public don't see is the biggest scam that probably this great nation has ever witnessed in its life, and it, all in the background, where the taxpayer money is taking care of the thieves, and in the same time, it's all happening behind closed doors, similar to like what you saw with Deutsche Bank when it basically went under. And now there's these reports saying that the reports of why it went under will not come out for the next, Swiss bank, not Deutsche. Too many banks in the back of my head. When the Swiss Credit Suisse, there's reports saying that they won't even release the story and exactly what brought it down and the details of it for the next 50 years. Whether that's true or not will remain to be seen. But listening to something like that tells you what are you trying to cover? This is similar to classified information for, CIA books or CIA info or FBI classified documents and whatever that can only be declassified 50 years later, because obviously the people will be different by then. It'll be different generations. They'll just look back at it as a historical figure or news. But clearly, if you got to put something like that and mask it for that long down the line, and conceal it, that means obviously the magnitude of it was gravely huge, like unbelievable. So all these things are happening in the background, of course, while you guys are all having a great morning. Belligerent ideas. Just got off work, and what the F, good vibes. Rem, hello, sir. How are you doing? Belligerent ideas and Rem, did I newly acquire you guys and get your guys' attention here, or have you guys been around? You just changed your names, your YouTube names. Man, you guys are amazing, hilarious and amazing. Mr. McCohen, there's my brother right there. Mr. McCohen, it was. I have had a laugh earlier this morning, and then you seen it. You commented on that one post. It was hilarious. It's no use. There's the best analogy I can bring here is sometimes if you look, and I don't like the bullfighting sport where they practice in Spain and Mexico and Peru and some other south countries. But the moral of that story to what we were laughing at earlier this morning, or what we had a rise at, is that if you come in an encounter with a raging bull, you just pull out the red flag and you just continue to make it dance around it and let it follow, because the red bull just focuses on that color. In other words, a small mindset like that, it's probably either in pain for similarly what it's provoking at. Two, um, what do you get out of that? Going back and forth, what, like, oh, okay, I'll show you my position and all that. For what? For what? What do you get out of it? Flexing on somebody or not flexing on somebody? So therefore, let them be, give them their little candy, send them on their way, pray for them, hope that they could actually become better individuals. Because again, if they are in pain, that could be telling. Not that I would carry myself in that demeanor in public or out there, but in the same time, that's just, it is what it is. You can't make people the way that you want them to be. Let's see. Yes, Mr. McCohen, the shills are out in full force. We got a lot of puts expiring on AMC this week. A lot of institutional. A lot of people think that it's retail that are losing and all this stuff. The people don't understand that institutes, with all that high short interest that is being reported, and while people are all looking at the cost to borrow and everything, very small amount of people are actually looking at the options chain and seeing what these institutes are doing. These people are doing some dirty stuff, and they're shorting AMC through the options chain in the same time, kind of in a very much less risky way for them, because all they lose is the premium. However, they will have the ability to um, exercise and accumulate shares through the options chain. Now, the crazy thing is, if they all continue to exercise and make, like, buy millions and millions of shares of AMC, that would ultimately, in my opinion, result in what most some channels talk about rehypothecation of shares, and that's how it works through this options chain. Is that you could end up with a lot more shares for supposedly a short period amount of time than what the float actually reports, because you got market makers who are bringing the shares, you got people who are writing and selling these puts in the same time. If people exercise them, then they take all these shares. If you balance it out and go and you calculate how many shares are in the float and how many shares now are out there, you'll see that it's unbelievable, the amounts of it. But for how long will they keep carrying that on? They're losing on the cost to borrow. No one is lending them shares. In fact, if any is lending them shares, it is going to be a select few, the Vanguards, the BlackRocks, because they just got so much of a passive investment in AMC and just about throughout the whole stock market, to the point where over the course of 3 years, lending the millions and millions upon millions of shares that they've acquired. About a year and a half ago, I made a video showing people that these people make so much money on a daily basis. It's unfathomable. Like, if you think about how much money they make, and their whole model is by lending shares, like BlackRock, Vanguard. That's all they do. Any companies out there, they go, especially the ones that have high short interest, they go and they gobble up millions of shares, instantly becoming one of the biggest investors in whatever that company is. So it's kind of like a fisherman with the net, and throwing a big net instead of a fishing rod, and then pulling it out and see what they come up with. It's a higher chance to come up with more fish than just one using one fishing rod. And that's what they do, is that they lend, they get like, they buy like millions upon millions of shares, they lend them out, and especially very profitable for them with stocks like AMC, GameStop, and meme stocks, because they know that there are shorts out there that are looking for these shares. So there is demand and they are providing the supply. The crazy thing is, the reason why the meme stocks are actually more profitable for them, for the BlackRocks and the Vanguards, that is because there is a lot more demand than what the supply needs to be. So to them, they're always thinking like, man, we need to buy millions and millions of more AMC shares so that we can constantly keep lending them out. And they're making high premium. When you see that cost to borrow fee at in the thousands of percents and stuff, guess who's laughing straight to the bank with that? Guess who is more than willing to lend these shares? Over the course of 3 years, BlackRock and Vanguard have gotten their investments worth on AMC and GameStop with no doubt. In my body, I have that insinuation, is that they've made their money hand over fist probably 4 or 5x times. So to them now, they're probably, if there's any shares being lent, they're probably the only entities, slash the Bank of Americas, Citigroups, they're probably the only ones that are actually lending out these shares, because they got nothing to lose anymore. Even if this was, and I know that's a very intense way to think about it, but think of it like this, put yourself in their position. If they, not that we would ever want to be that disgustingly greedy and manipulative, but put it this way: if you were them and you go about your day every day, like your business, just like them, and they go ahead and you borrowed like 4 million shares of whatever AMC, and you've lent them out to these shorts, cost to borrow is in the thousands of percents over the course of like 2-3 years. Of course, it wasn't 1,000% for all those 2-3 years, but in this, you could, if you do the average, it will probably be somewhere around 500%. So doing that, you possibly have made for 3 years 5x the amount of your initial investment, and you still have your shares. If you were to continue to lend them, at that point, you already are playing with the house money 5 times over. You don't care much about these shares, because again, they're not us. They're not diamond hands. They don't care about the squeeze. In fact, they don't want the squeeze because that might obliterate their clients, the people who come to borrow from them. Who's borrowing from BlackRock and Vanguard? Me and you, or these short hedge funds and market makers? Of course, the opposite, the latter. So that's who's the, if anybody's lending right now, those are the only people that are lending. If we were to think about a logical explanation, not makeup, synthetics, naked shorts, all that stuff, which they're very capable of doing as well on their own instead of borrowing. But if that was the case, then what's the point of a BlackRock and Vanguard lending? Who are they going to lend to if everybody can make up their own naked shares? So it's good to keep these thoughts in the back of your head. However, the other way for them to do so, if no one is lending them, is through the options chain. And that's what they have been doing. Now looking at here, look, they're trying to bring us right back down through here. Let's see what's happening with the SPY. The SPY looks like it's consolidating. It tried to, the buying pressure was immense all the way from here, from 450.08, 450.05, you could say, all the way up to the 451.84 nonstop. That's huge. So let's see if they ran out of buying, if this was just nothing but the market maker burning premiums for both sides, the puts and the calls. We will see throughout the day if they're going to completely lag through here. I mean, again, this is only 10 million in volume. That's not much for the SPY. That's similar to what they've been going through for the past week or so. I mean, sorry, since this last Friday. Yeah, so Friday, Monday, and today is Tuesday. These 3 days have been similar in action and volume as well. So let's see if they will be able to bounce right off of here. They're consolidating. The sellers are stepping in. no manipulation on the seller's side right here. So if they meet this, what I think is a psychological point right there, if they meet this and bounce off of it, we will see to try to retest that that daily high from yesterday and break through it to continue moving on up, or will it break underneath and then the bears will be in control? And this channel has just been nothing but, see, this is what it's telling you right there. Every time it touches this area, this zone, that means it's a buy zone. Literally, that's what it's been showing from yesterday and today. That's just the most recent action that in this zone right here, in these two lines that I've drawn for you here, this is indicating to me that this is the buy zone. Of course, the best opportunity is to get it at the cheapest possible, which is again the bottom of this, right somewhere around this line. Buying anywhere around here would mean a bounce. And then if you look back over here through yesterday, that happens to be also the same level. 450 is what the power is that might be. Want this to continue to think that 450 is a good price for the S&P 500 slash sorry, for the SPY. So that's what this supply zone is telling me. The supply and demand zone, the price action is telling me is that the 450 price is what they think is a very good steal for this moment in time. And that's what markets are all about. Every day for itself, maybe every week on a weekly range, deciding what the price is, what is the right price for a security. And that's what it's showing here. And then if somebody was basically scalping and trading here, then obviously you will see AB's USA strategy is, okay, watch for contest of 450. A massive break means it's over. 450 is no longer a good price for the SPY, or to get into the SPY, if somebody's thinking about getting into the SPY. Now, if it touches here and then bounces right off, and that's why you see here this action, it broke underneath the 450, but this is how they called liquidity grab. This is how why when people put stop losses, they always put them at the resistance, and those are amateur traders. They always put their like stop loss exactly at the resistance level or the support level, and then they think that, you know, as soon as they go and they get their orders get filled at a loss, then next thing you know, they'll be like, wow, oh my god, look, of course it goes up after they took my order instantly. Well, the reason why is there's always liquidity grab, and you always have to get confirmation. This was not a confirmation that is going to break under this that happened this morning. If in fact, if you see, this is exactly the same story as up here. Literally the same exact story. Every time it touches the 451, that's when basically the market is telling you that the price has been a little bit overextended in the 451 and above range. In the 450 range, that's what the market thinks is it's a good price for this present time of the future. And then if you see here, the 450 has been exactly the same level for a long time, since since yesterday and today, where we completely respected it and bounced off. You see here the same liquidity grab, this little thing that pokes right after out of the line. This is nothing but a liquidity grab. It happened here today. It happened here yesterday. What are the odds, right? So that's why the stop losses have to be set at a confirmational zone that does not, get scooped up by a stop loss liquidity grab right here. So if the stop loss was similar to, for example, right here, then that order would never have been filled, and then you would be exposed to that rebound, which would basically take you up to here at a massive profit scalping point. Some of you option traders out there know exactly what I'm talking about. And now it's an interesting thing to see if the price is going to change, if all that talk is going to change. Is 451 the right price? Will 451 be the new price that the market finds as the right price. We see a touch here, we see a touch there, we see a touch here, here, tried to get it there, passed through it here with strength today, and now we touched it right here, and they're like, the buyers, the sellers are trying to get it under. The buyers are like, I don't think so. Let's keep it above 451. The market is trying to tell us that 451 is a good price and a low price for the SPY as far as from now leading into the end of this week. Would that be the case? That's where you got to get confirmation. We got to see here. There's a small little channel that shows the opposite, that is going to continue to come down, retest this 451.38 range again, and perhaps either break right through it with authority, and you see something like this, or you're going to see a rebound. And if it does, we need to see a continuation, a change of trend. We need to see it rebound off of this to here somewhere, and then we need to see it meet it again and then bounce off of it. If that happens, that's when I would get my indication that the 451 is a good price. The 451.38, for example, in this case, is a good price for the SPY for today, and I'm scalping it for the upside. And that's basically how things will roll out, right? Who's that? Oh, look, the chat is being colored. Look at this. Brian Wallace. Okay, hold on. Belligerent Ideas. I've been around. Actually, was called changed name. Hello. Brian Wallace. All ingredients are there. Cost to borrow, short interest, days to cover, FTDs. We just need a spark. Yeah, the spark is there, my friend. Looks like Judge Zern has the spark at the moment. Yo, 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 yo. Look at that. I peed in Kenny's pool. New Mexico in the hizzy. Just make sure you don't bring any rattlesnakes with you, bro. What's up, next door neighbor at AV Investments and Family? What's crack-a-lackin'? I'm pretty sure, basically, I peed in Kenny's pool is talking to Mr. McCohen, their neighbors, and cool, amazing family members of mine. I have the most pleasure to call family. I peed in Kenny's pool is a massively amazing chef. He cooks some really good stuff. So if you're ever if you're in New Mexico, if you're in the zones of New Mexico, you need to hit I peed in Kenny's pool and try some of his food. Mr. McClone is obviously an honorable man who I always say thank you for your service, sir, and thank you for being a brave individual who did things that many of us can't. Look at that, and owning the float. Much love from Denver, Colorado family. Hopefully hopefully what do you call it? The elevation is not affecting you out there owning the float. I seen the two videos yesterday you posted, and you looked like you were breathing heavy. Like it's you got to get used to that elevation. Are you staying out there for a long time? I need you to make sure that that Russell Wilson gets his act together in Denver. Let's see. Javi the Great. What's up, brother? How are you, sir? Brian Wallace, I hope we will be able to replace these crooked market makers with AI. Brian, where were you yesterday? Oh my God. Here's what I'm laughing at. Imagine the market makers going, creating some sort of union and going to make a far cry saying AI is replacing us. We're gonna because we were talking yesterday about the writers and the actors guild and how they're boycotting and going on strike. And now that you're talking about, like, you brought this up, imagine market makers doing a far cry about that too. I think that that is a unanimous thing for all of us, where we all would say, yeah, replace the market maker with AI. The problem is, what kind of AI will be in place? Is it going to be the Skynet? Is it going to be, like the evil one? Or will it be who it should be? the freaking SCC. You know, this goes all the way back to the BS, and this goes into like some sort of deep state, but we're not going to go there. However, this is the fruits. These are the fruits. The fact that we have these private market makers, these people who have a bias, and they're market makers to the markets. I mean, how could you expect, let's say Citadel, for example, or Virtue, or Sequoia to be, or Susquehanna? How do you expect any of them to play fair when, even though that's the oath that they got to live by and all the shit? Yeah, we get that. But how do you expect them to be fair and play in a fair demeanor and market if they have positions in the market? They like, it's so hard for me to believe that, you know, like I'm not gonna have it's like having a biasness to a family member. Imagine you're the head of a company, and then suddenly all your board and all the employees and all that are all cousins, family members, and all that. Does that look like unfair practice, or does that sound like unfair practice of an equal opportunity to a job to you, or not? Of course it doesn't, because this clearly, these are all connections. The person is hiring other people. Similarly with market makers, they're allowed to partake and take positions, their own positions in the market. So how do you expect, and they also have to play the person who will fairly provide liquidity? It makes no sense. And these are the fruits, literally the fruits of the labor that we had from our ancestors not too long ago, when they made the whole free trade, you know, the free trade treaties and stuff like that. So like now the free open trade, where basically you got most of our jobs being stolen. You got China bringing in all it's what it wants to do. Not just China, but anybody from out there can bring in and do what they want to do. We can't compete because here companies, conglomerates want to take jobs and take plants and manufacturing elsewhere. They want to take it to India, they want to take it to China, they want to take it elsewhere, Bangladesh, Nepal, wherever, Mexico, because they get to pay much less for someone out there, where they pay somebody probably $1 a day out there to work. They have to pay somebody here $17, $18, or $15 an hour, which might sound to them like, oh, of course, that's an extra expense. But the sad part here is that it doesn't even end there. Those are the same entities like NVIDIA, for example, and Intel. But let's take NVIDIA. You guys remember, some of you long-term subs in this channel, you remember last year where the CHIP Act was a big story and everything, and I broke a huge live about it a few times. And I showed you guys clips of individuals like the CEO of NVIDIA, and how he literally, practically, like straight up threatened Congress and said, if you don't give us these billions and billions and billions of dollars, we will take our plants and go and compete in the European markets or in Asia. Do you know what Congress' response was? Here you go, sign the CHIP Act. And they got billions. Do you know what they did? They went ahead and started manufacturing a plant in Poland. I'm not against, you know, the trust me, like the empowerment of our capitalist nature and all that stuff. But how did my tax-paying money give this guy, who literally, that CEO makes over 100 million a year? That's his salary. That's even more disgusting on another level as well. So you and I are paying money for these people who are actually saying, if you don't give us this money, we're going to go elsewhere. Keep us by paying us. If you don't pay us, we're not going to stay here. Imagine us as citizens. And I hope I don't get flagged for this, because you know how they come down, they throw the book at people like AB and retail like us. But people like these big conglomerates, they get away with unscathed. They can say whatever they want. But imagine if citizens say, we don't want to be citizens. We don't want to pay tax. We don't want to do this unless you give us that money, or you give us jobs, or you give us this. It's going to be back and forth situation. Some representatives from this party and that party are going to speak and talk, and nothing gets done. But these guys, he literally comes on in an interview and says, the CEO of NVIDIA, that is, the stock that is leading the AI boom right now, gets paid over 100 million a year, threatens Congress by saying, give me the billions that we need, because they are making hand over fist while he's making 100 million a year himself. And the company is making billions of dollars every year. They don't want to invest in paying for their own plants. Do you see how insane this, or hypocritical that sounds? They don't want to pay for creating their own plants. They don't want to pay employees here in the States because they rather pay less elsewhere. Yet they want your money and my money, and they are not shy about threatening about it. You know, to me, there was a time where only if AB was leader, supreme leader. There's the dictator in me coming out. Only if AB was leader, I would bring and round up all these puppets and say, hey, listen, man, listen, you're making $100 million a year. You're 2 years out of your just your salary could perhaps fund half of a freaking plant. That's first of all. Second of all, you want me to take billions of dollars from all these citizens that are buying your products that you want, like without us, without our market, without our US citizens here. And this is not me being biased only to US citizens, guys. I love you. You guys know AB, and you know how much he loves all humans, and you know, I'm a humanitarian before a citizen, but still, it's a principle here. So let's deal with our backyard first. You need, every company's biggest dream is to land in the US markets, because it is the biggest consumers market in the world. So you got these people that are buying your overly priced products. On top of that, you are threatening them to give you more money to build a plant that you're too greedy to pay out of your profits that you're making hand over fist from them. I mean, if everybody says we don't want to buy computers anymore, what would Apple do? What would Microsoft do? They would literally become a Dollar General. What would NVIDIA do? It would also have a catalytic event on NVIDIA. NVIDIA sells all these chips. Okay, specifically graphics cards and all that, computers. Just by boycotting computers, for example, and I'm not giving any ideas here, by giving out, like by boycotting computers, you could literally destroy these conglomerates. So if AB was leader, he would bring and round up these puppets, the Gates, the Cooks from Apple, the NVIDIA's guy, and all these people, and Intel guy, all those people, and say, hey, come here. Listen, you guys are going to do this, that, okay? Because it doesn't make sense that you're making so much money off of the citizens. On top of that, you're asking for more. You want more. Without with no, but under, I don't know what ground. Like, that's what's making me think twice about it. It's like, how could you hit someone and then expect them to apologize to you? So that's how it's gonna work. You coming in here, waving flags and throwing threats, talking about you'll take your company elsewhere, then I'll tell you, you know what? Don't make me put no executive order out there now that will put you and your company out of freaking business. And I'll tell you, go ahead. You want to be out there? You don't want to be in the US? Go. Let's see who's calling whose bluff here. You're threatening me? Okay. And this nation? All right, go. Let's see how many countries out there, like in India and China, you can sell a computer for $2,000-$3,000. Let's see if how that works out for you. In China or in India, they will make you make the best product for freaking $100 or $200 because all this competition out there will be, and you can't access our markets anymore. I will put all these people in freaking line because those are the very same people that are actually robbing the entire US public from their taxpayer money and all that stuff. So again, I don't want to be bringing my dictator AB set stuff, but honestly, this country needs these elites to be put in check. And I understand they're the ones who are donating to these these campaigns and all that stuff, and they're making sure they do that so that they can get the results they want. They get their guy in. Well, we need a guy that does not care about the money. He doesn't even have to have it, honestly. Like, yeah, you don't even have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be a trillionaire. You just want to go in, do a job, get out when your term ends, and set it up for the future to come. Because we have been going from one terrible administration to another, and nothing is being changed. It's actually the politics. All we've been bouncing around with is he say, she say. What has been done? Every person will come in and say, "Oh, our GDP was the best in my term, and then when I gave it to this person, it was much better, and now it's worse," and all this stuff. I'm tired of all this stuff. This is the WWE world. Literally, a page out of the WWE is implemented into our politics, and you see that both parties. It doesn't matter which party it is. You got the whole entire Congress. Everybody's complicit. There's no party that's better than the other, whether conservative or democratic or whatnot. You can see that through following the money. I always tell you guys, follow the freaking money. When you see someone, to see if they're corrupt or not, follow the money trail, because we live in the money world, a materialistic world. You will see in 2020, in 2008, in every crash that happened, or every year, there's always Congress members from both parties, Republican and Democratic, both caught, all of them caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Where the point that I'm trying to get to here is that while we are taking most of the punishment of these conditions in this world, they are so ambiguous to the point to say that you can go through more, you can get through more, you can go through more hardship. They're technically, literally squeezing out every little bit that you and I can possibly fathom or go through. That's why you see these inflations. That's why you see these house and living conditions the way that they are, expensive as they are. All that stuff is part of the overall order that we're living in. Okay, we ranted on for a little bit. IPIKP SAHP. Wait for it. I hope we'll be able to replace these cricket market makers. Yep, for sure. Oh, man. Brian, do you think the shorts can't cover because we own the supply? If there is dilution with extra supply, do you think they will this will give them shares they need to cover? Brian Wallace, that's been one of the biggest reasons why I was a no vote. And I've said this since the whole thing was proposed, the whole voting and the reverse split conversion been given out. The dilution will of course give them that, because right now, how can they cover without access to real shares? Who's sitting on the real shares? Maybe some institutes and some us. Most of these institutes, they all lend their shares, so they probably already went through these shares through lending and all that crap. They can't cover with lent shares. However, we are the ones that are holding and been sitting on them for 3 years, and perhaps more than even many floats, not just one, but we don't know for certain. So I would like to keep the conversation as fair as possible. So I can't just go bullish all the way and say, hey, I can guarantee you we have 10x the float. While I think that's a very good possibility, I can't just confirm that because no one can actually come out and confirm that. Even if we know that it's there, we can't unless it actually is out there. And that way you're always giving out non-biased info, putting out non-biased info. But yes, we're sitting on our shares, we're holding, we're diamond handing. Now suddenly, it's not just the dilution that will give them access to shares, because AMC will sell at prices much lower than the prices you and I and others are expecting. If we're talking about life-changing wealth, AMC is not talking about to the moon. Unfortunately, while they should be that way, but they're not thinking of that. They want to get through these conditions that they're in. They want to fix their balance sheets, but that's the part that gets under my skin is why can't you fix your balance sheets by also winning for good, for long term? Unless it's not the company, it's the players that are in the company, the CEO, the board, and so forth and so forth. If they sold out the entire, not just the retail, but the company itself, if they sold it for their own personal gains and interest, because that there is, like, for those people who want to say that no, that doesn't make sense, well, there is a very good point. Because again, if you follow the money, you'll see that they all have been handsomely rewarded themselves, handsomely rewarded, whether through pay or whether through the rise in the stock that they all took advantage of and dumped and sold shares left and right. Did that happen? Yes. AB is not fabricating that. Anybody who's saying that is not FUD. It's nothing but pointing out the truth. And people who seek the truth, they don't care what agenda they have. They just have to say it as is without any biasness. And that's where the problem is that the conversion acts also as another issue. I understand many people want that ape because the arbitrage opportunity to converge over. But the issue is, who holds the majority of ape? Not retail. And that's a fact. Who are you bringing in? And I always alluded to that as with the analogy of the Trojan horse. The ape is the Trojan horse that shorts, and I showed with facts and detailed numbers too, receipts of many short hedge funds that even talk shit about us as investors, called us out, like AQR and Cliff Asness, their CEO. They loaded up before that record date on ape. They got their AMC shares, their ape rewarded to them, and now they perhaps are waiting for it to get in so it can convert and become actual common shares, AMC shares, so they can use to cover with. It's as simple as that. Or they could use to dump after they're in. And again, that's the Trojan horse story from the ancient days, where all the soldiers hid in that gift that they were honoring the Greeks with, and then they gave that Trojan horse over to them. Then at night, the city, when the horse was in the middle, it's a big wooden horse that had inside the belly, there was many soldiers, infiltrators, and everybody was drinking, partying at night, thinking they won the war and all that stuff. And then while they were all, halfway tipsy, not halfway tipsy, fully drunk and on their ass and doing, not even aware, all these soldiers and infiltrators came out of the horse's belly and they opened up the city. And that's what ape is when it converged, when it goes into that conversion into AMC. Now that's my humble belief. Anybody that doesn't see it that way, I love you. At the end of the day, I still love you. I hope you feel the same way, because at the end of the day, we are here for the same cause, just different strokes, different methods of supporting. I'm supporting, you're supporting. Maybe your way of supporting is different than mine. I don't have to hate you. You don't have to hate me. You still want to hate me? Hey, much love. Come on in. There's nothing that you can do with that hate, but hate, add more hatred into your life and negativity into your own life. I'm not gonna let that shower over me. I'll just let it blow over. Similar to that shill this morning that Mr. McCohen seen and replied to. But hopefully that answers the question, Brian. Slither back, AA. Oh man. Mrs. Chase, what an absolute treat to have you here. Good morning to you as well. Uh, have a great day at work, and thank you for listening and tuning in. Let's see. Mike said, my son and I were walking at Coors Field. Had a great time here, but heading to Las Vegas now. Oh. Okay, so you're going from the high elevation to the hot fields, and I've been hearing rumors that Vegas now is like 115 in temperature, or one like 20 or some shit like that. You could just take a bot like a pack of eggs with you and a dozen eggs and just put it on the street. They will all cook. I'm good for that much heat. Veronica is becoming a big fan of Owning the Floats channel, as you should. Well, thank you, Veronica. Everybody else, check. If you have not checked out or don't know Mike Owning the Float, he has a wonderful, that's a brother of mine, and a wonderful channel. An amazing man. You just wait, like he will grow on you so fast if you go and give him a listen. Sometimes you might even catch us doing lives, and eventually we might actually get into doing some other things in the near future, hopefully. So enjoy the trip to Vegas, Mike, you and your son. MPJPK, I'm ready for my cocaine and hookers, damn it. Well, I can't pray for that for you, but I'll just say, may the Lord give you everything your heart desires. It's a shady world we live in. Yes, indeed it is, Mike. Indeed it is. But see, that's the thing. Like Mike, without those, I don't want to say there's no us. It won't be people like you and the lovely people in this family, in this chat right here, the beautiful people that are actually are the resistance to all these shady people and individuals. You guys are what? Without you, they won't be them. We won't understand what shady is, and without shady, the world or no one will understand what good is. It pains me to say that that should be the case, but again, since the beginning of time, uh, that's what has been the case. Is that we fight good and evil will be a fight that will continue going until the end of times. Andy Cameron, is AMC off the threshold list? I have not checked. Can somebody confirm for me in here? I know I Pete in Kenny's pool always looks at that stuff. Tell us, I Pete in Kenny's pool. Let's see if somebody in the family here, out of the 30 people in here, oops, sorry, 29 people, somebody doesn't want to even hear that, can verify. David Stevens, what's good, my friend? What effects will the annual stockholder meeting lawsuit have? I think, okay, that's a very good question. I'm glad that you asked that question. I think that these are the floodgates. Once lawyers, and this is something that one of my good old friends told me once before. When lawyers get a hold of something, it's similar to sharks smelling blood. The everything now sees what is happening, and everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie. They seen, like, look at it this way, they seen what that settlement was like for Antera. We're not the only ones that seen sorry, not Antera, the Allegheny. We're not the only ones that have seen that settlement with AMC, and then how they agreed to that ludicrous settlement that pays out the lawyers of Allegheny $20 million for nothing. Now, all these other pension funds and all these other lawyers are saying, what? That's like free money. If they got this for that, we can at least get us a couple of mil, at least. Here, you don't want me to sue you in court so that I can push down your reverse split and stuff like that? Pay me. So don't think of these, my answer is actually this. Don't think of all these lawsuits as necessarily as a support for us, but mainly think of them, or act like, think of them as somebody who's, as a bystander. They just want to come and get some free money. That's the way they see it. Right now, you and I can go and start suing AMC and saying, hey, if you don't want us to take you in court, pay us a settlement amount, because they seen what AMC did with Allegheny. So everybody out there now is saying, okay, that's a statement. We all can just hammer in lawsuits, and AMC will come out and say, you know what, we'll give you, here's 10 million to you, 20 million to you, 5 million to you, as long as you agree to the settlement. Like, that's the way I see it. So it's not good, and it's not, in my humble opinion, it's not a good thing to have all these lawsuits. And I understand how we want all these to pile up, because we're thinking about it, because we don't want, many people don't want that reverse split to happen, especially for common shares slash convergent. However, you got to think of these entities as bystanders, leechers, who just want to jump in and take a piece of the pie for free. For free. They saw that weird action. They saw that weird settlement with Allegheny. So they're like, hey, if they were able to, it's not settled for sure, but at least AMC agreed. Like, that's the crazy part. When they saw that there was agreed for paying 20 million for a stupid settlement, okay, well, we can at least get 5 just for submitting a lawsuit. So that's the way. Hopefully that answers the question, brother. I don't see it as a good thing, not necessarily for us, but the reason why I don't see it as a good thing is because, again, of the motive. They don't care about retail investors. It's not that they really care or don't care about the reverse split. They just want to make sure that they get money. If there's money to be handed, everybody wants that. Everybody wants free money. Encashment, stay hydrated, owning the float. Yep, good advice. Antonio Williams, something shady is going on. Robinhood hasn't been filling my call option buys. Again, from the name, robbing the hood. I'll be in Vegas in October, first time going. Well, only took me 50 years to decide to go. And remember, Mr. McCoy, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Make sure that since it's your first time, that you don't make it your first and last time. Crazy things happen in Vegas, man. Thank you, David Stevens. Hit the like button, people. Appreciate it. Listen to the man. Mr. McCall wants a slice of the damn pie. Well, you were going to Vegas in October and you want a slice of that pie, man, something tells me you're going to lose all that. It's your first time. You're going to lose all that pie in Vegas. Gorilla Grodd. There we go. Telepathic abilities and controlling. But now it's telling us AMC is still on the threshold list, still according to Ortex as of 7:30 a.m. Just a quick glance, haven't checked Gov websites. Well, yes, we will check. I'll actually go ahead and start researching it right now as we're looking at the SPY back here. You see, guys, I'll tell you guys what's happening. Look at the SPY. You see that point? It was right here where I was telling you that this is looking, if it meets here, we will be looking at the market is telling us that 451 is a good price. 451.38 is a good price for the market, for the SPY. And guess what? Now we have the confirmation up here showing that it is a good price, but it's manipulatedly in a very manipulative way. It is done. At 14 million in volume, you're talking about a rebound from 450, a reversal, to all the way to 450, 258, only in such a small amount of volume right here that also accounted for that sell-off right here. It's unbelievable how you see this. You can see it here, tapering, boom. And there's more tapering around here. The algorithms are in control. They want to make sure that obviously the market maker does not want, he wants the economy and the system to constantly look like it's on the uprise. However, they do not want the massive runs that would put people's call options in so much profit. When it's slow and steady so they can burn the premiums as much as possible, the extrinsic value, especially for the ones who are far out of the money. Let's see. Let's look at the monthly time frame. It's so crazy that we're literally, the market is a few percents away, about 2.5% away from an all-time high. Literally, like the market is saying technically that it's the best that it's ever been. Almost. I mean, it makes no sense. However, it is what it is, right? But I've told you about this for over a month, that the market is running for an all-time high, to break that all-time high. And guess what? It's been respecting that. I've told you this for over a month. You guys could say it in the chat to confirm. Some of the people who have been following along, you could call that out. Call that out. Since literally early June, I was telling you guys that the market was going for this, unless it respects certain levels, and now we're above them. As you can see here, if this acts as the new bottom right there, um, the 450. Hold on one second. This is Apple. I was like, what the hell? This doesn't look like the SPY. Literally, like from all the way back here, since these areas back here, it was like, this is not the peak. A lot of people who saw this 442, that's a peak. And it was like, nope, that's not going to be the peak. And it's here. And I still stand by my saying that we will break a new all-time high crazily because of the Fed's actions and what the Treasury is doing, and obviously the pumping of the market. But this is how they do their business. This is exactly how they go about stuff. This is how they do it. Don't think that they're going up. That means they are going up. That means it won't stop. Remember this. Before a massive drop, there's always what precedes it is a massive pump. Before a massive pump, there's always a massive drop. It's always like this. That's how it works with these people, because they're making money both ways. So right now, they're making money on the way up, and trust me, they will be the same people that and the first people that will be shorting the market from the top down, once, because they know that they can manipulate and spoof the price to wherever they want it to be. So once it gets to the level that they want it to be at, perhaps breaking that new all-time high and whatever it extends for after, that's when suddenly you're going to get the mirage of news and like crazy saying, oh, bank such and such just broke. It's this. The systematic risk, the fear in the market is on a different level now. We don't know if we will actually be able to get through this. Are more banks like are more banks exposed to that such and such bank? And I guarantee you that this is exactly how it will play out when it rolls out. We had no idea this could happen like this. We literally had inflation right, and it was right on. We were on the doorsteps of having everything correct, and unfortunately, we didn't see this coming. This bank did this. Like we didn't see this one coming, and unfortunately, we got other banks exposed to it. While all that crazy news is circulating, you're going to have the whole entire stock market being in fear and uncertainty. And next thing you know, you'll have a drop, and a massive one that is, from the graces of the heavens that they are pumping this stock market to. Let me see here. what's happening with AMC. Look at this. Look at this crap. With 7 million volume, you want to tell me that we were able to go here and then right back to here like this? Ugh. Manipulation at its finest. But till when? Look at this. They're riling up. Since this, I'm looking at their options chain, like the corporates, and in the same time looking at like some of the individual actions. There was a literally now the like they're still like playing the July 21st, which is this month, this week, and now they're also piling up on August the 18th options chain, and all are far deep in the money or right out of the money. What is that doing? You asking me, I'll tell you. That's basically their way of shorting AMC without having to go through short interest and borrowing shares and doing all that stuff. They could do it with this. The only thing they risk is their premiums. That's called containment, confinement. That's how they contain AMC at these levels. Tesla is weirdly not reacting with the same SPY, the overall broad market reaction, which is weird. If that's what's happening, then maybe they're waiting on the big news for tomorrow, which tells me, as I told you guys yesterday, that yesterday and today will be very telling to what will happen with Tesla as far as for what AB would think that the earnings effect is going to be. You got to remember the 52-week high is sitting at $314.67, which is not too far away from here. They did report a few weeks ago that their their deliveries on vehicles has surged over 83%. So it's safe to say that obviously they're going to report something that is going to be good as far as earnings and all that stuff. Now, the one thing I wanted to see on Monday and Tuesday, which is today, is how like there's always high players that know more than like ahead of everybody else. So like I wanted to see the reaction to it, because normally before earnings get reported on such high stocks like this, normally it's already whatever sentiment is going to be, whether to the upside or the downside, most of the times it is induced into the stock ahead of time, so that when people who are waiting for their earnings will get in, since especially after hours, the next day they'll be jumping in without even thinking twice to try to get in. If it's bullish news, they'll jump in on the call side. If it's bearish news, they'll jump in on the put side. And of course, they most likely, some of them will survive and some of them will make money, and most of them will get crucified because the price was already incorporated or has been induced in. So that's why you have for example, the 25 basis points. Another example with the market and the Feds, that effects of the 25 basis points has already been incorporated within the market as of now. The only thing that will bring the markets down is uncertainty and fear. It's not the announcement of the 25 basis points or whatnot, because the metrics are already incorporating these things in. You don't believe me? Wait and see. Wait and see how they will play it out. But this is interesting for me because right now I'm leaning more on the call side for Tesla. Because it is supposed to be, it can't, like the fact that it's consolidating between a $4 range a day before its earnings, it's mind-boggling for me. So that's not Tesla-ish performance or volume. Looking at that, it's only 44 million in volume for now. And with that 44 million, you got this consolidation zone. It's going to break out. I have no doubt in my system that there will be a breakout. But now the key is to see. That's why I needed yesterday and today before close to see exactly what to be expecting. And then tomorrow, I would see in the mornings what will be the action of Tesla if there's some exotic movement to either side. Uh, and obviously, I will make my position in it if something it becomes a little more clear before the earnings in the after hours. Because this is weird. The broad market is up. Everything is up. Look, the article, AMC shareholder sues to force company to hold annual meeting. Okay, let's see. Oh, GME is up 4%. Look at this. What doing? What are you doing? It's an interesting rise of rise of an event. I like this. This actually brought us to the high of the day. This run. Let's see. There might be a huge like the fact that the Amazon and Tesla is doing this. There might be a huge some sort of reversal for the broad market on the horizon. Like some weird shit could happen today. Honestly, I feel it in my gut. Meta is nowhere. Apple is down. What the hell is bumping the SPY? Google's down. Nvidia is down. That it's definitely not Coinbase. Yeah, the market is weird as hell right now for today. Stay tuned, people. We're gonna see something is on the horizon here. I can feel it in the air. All right, let's see here. Uh, I have Vegas stories for days when I played poker. Oh man, owning the float. We would have to talk about these on the next live, man. We have to talk about those stories. I love these stories. You know, we have to talk about some of these things and just like, yeah, I don't gamble personally. It's even like it's against my religion and stuff. But again, it's cool. I think that to see like to talk about. I like those movies. I've seen some of those poker movies, and I think it will be good stories to talk about because a lot of people can relate to. Like listening to what happened. Who knows? Maybe you were on the big table and something happened. Oh, Mr. McCohen, I don't gamble, brother. I'm going for the food I hear they have. I work too hard for my money to gamble to gamble it. All right. Well, it's not just food that they got out there. So enjoy your trip, Mr. McCohen. Much deserved. Owning the float estate at the Bellagio for 6 months. Whoa. God damn. Damn. So that we could make a movie out of you, Mike. McCohen is like, I put money up to get my dad to play though. He won 75K in one night here in Ruidoso. He's made a small fortune through the years. Wow. What is he, a professional gambler? That's what's up. Kudos to him. You just went through a commercial in my life? What? For the first time, huh? Look at them. They're trying to benefit off of AB. Loving these scalps on the spy for only AFC could boom. Belligerent ideas. Hey, it's an amazing day when you see stuff like that, right? It's a great feeling when you walk in, make money, get out, do whatever you want to do with those, you know, profits. Mr. McCone, I wish I knew how to scalp the spy. Well, what do you think we're doing here, brother? Not that, I'm out here, giving people, telling people, get here, buy this or sell that. But I'm hoping that through the commentary and the explanations that I provide through here, that you could make, or any of you could start educating yourselves a lot more and then feel a lot more comfortable through seeing how it, how it actually works and reacts to what we're talking about. And when you see things work, that's just how everything is. Everything in the beginning is not, it doesn't make sense and it's tough, but it gets much easier once you actually start seeing results. Like once you start seeing it working out, like, oh, okay, I looked at this, I looked at that, and guess what? It did do that. Wow. Um, and that's how it starts for everybody, man. Belligerent Ideas had a live too, a commercial. If you gone public. Uh, exactly. Hypothecating fake shares. Kenny, I beating Kenny's pool. Maybe's channel just glitched with the algorithm breaking and halted with that commercial. Now only 25 years from 35. I'm telling you, man, as soon as I started talking about the shorts and I started talking about some parties and all that kind of talk, the political talk we were just talking about a little bit ago, hey, man, they got me flagged. Need some Phil Collins playing AB. I would love to, man. I would love to, but they'll flag my stream. However, I'll actually play something else in the background. Good point. You guys just got to tell me if it's too loud or if it's not. I'm way too ADHD to play poker. No way in hell. Your dad is a math teacher that's played poker his whole life. That's why. Ah. Don't say that about yourself, Mr. McCoy. You're far away from that. But yeah, tell me, guys, is the music low? Is it too loud? Is it nice? Is it the right? All right, let me look up the AMC. All right, thanks, Belligerent Ideas. Appreciate it, brother. Is AMC on a threshold list? That's interesting. I see Mullen. I don't see AMC. Let me see. That's on the NASDAQ. Hold on. Gorilla Grodd. AYP, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you in here. Hopefully you're having a great day. Yeah, I can't find any other sources. Okay. So yeah, as far as we know, as of yesterday, because it's always a day in later, AMC was still on the threshold list as of yesterday. Yesterday's gets reported, and now we got today's will be reported tomorrow. So yeah, as far as we can see, I don't see actually mulling anymore on this list on the NYSE, but I see AMC on the threshold list. So yeah. Okay, let's see what's happening here with the portfolio. Okay. All right. We're still consolidating. GME is making a higher highs. We need a little more volume. See if volatility breaks. What is Tesla saying? Shares fall on Tesla patent infringement complaint filing. Court date delay. Cap XXX fell Tuesday after Tesla lodged a complaint against the company in the U.S. District Court, alleging that it infringed 2 patents, while a trial date for an existing patent infringement action against Maxwell Technologies was delayed. Has been moved to December 11th from July 24th due to expert witness for Maxwell passing away. Oh, wow. It's Tesla doing a reversal from 286.01. Perhaps doing higher highs, as you can see here, and higher lows. We can draw some. Just to show you guys the trend. Okay, Microsoft is, whoa, what is happening here? Something just got reported maybe on Microsoft. That's crazy propping up. Or the plunge protection team just came in and said, you know what? Here you go, Bill Gates. You guys see that? We just witnessed it right there. All that buying action just happened literally in this last 2 minutes. What's going on with Apple? Apple's got the funniest chart of the day. This is a sleeping giant right here. The SQQQ. That right there, my friends, is a sleeping giant. Let me just expand this to show you guys some things. Okay. See, on all the indicators, the SQQ is showing me that it's been way over freaking sold, except on the short-term indicators. Now, on the other end, the SQQ is literally looking like the AMC's AMC's chart, straight up. Look at this. At some point, I'm going to be looking forward to see that conversion to go up, and then for this blue line to cross that gold. And that's when you will see some wildness happen in the market. At that very same time that moment happens, you will be expecting the SPY or the S&P 500 going in the opposite direction and falling off the face of Earth. So this is an interestingly pulled down way too far play or stock, in my humble opinion. Let's look at BBIG. Actually, one second. Let me look at Microsoft again real quick. Look, Microsoft is having a continuation. Look at that. It's going for a new 50. Yeah, it broke a 52-week high. A new 52-week high. Wow. Live on air. Unfreaking believable. Still in a look at this. This is on a monthly time frame. Look at that huge bar. That's most likely to lead to more buying. Look at that. Back in March 16th, that's when Microsoft had its golden cross moment, as I like to call it. You see that? Like what I was talking about, the SQQ like converting in, and the blue line crossing that gold line right there. Look, it had it right there. Ever since then, it was like around the 250s, 260s. This is when it happened, but logically, like, you know, an actual trader, like, you know, being a conservative trader, you would not get right there, only because you can always have this. You see that, how it went under and it pulled right back up. So you need confirmation. Once the confirmation was given there on this drop right there, later on the 27th of March, when it was given there and then it pushed up, this is right there, the area in the 280s. At 280 is when I would have gotten in on calls for Microsoft in April, right there. April 3rd, 280, 280, 283, 3-4 months out. Now it's up over 80 bucks. Imagine that fortune you would have if you have seen this, or if we were tracking this back then. But there's just so many plays in the market, like you can't, like, look, same thing with the SPY. It had its moment right here. Same time frame with Microsoft. March 28th, right there at 407. That's when you would see that the market have pulled down over here, and then as soon as it came here and it came off of it, 410 was like, if you want, like, most people would probably jump right here in this area, but the conservative ones will wait for a retest and then jump right back up in there again at about 405, 406, maybe the late ones at 410. And again, that's in the end of April. So 3 months later, look at it, 50 something bucks higher. Let's look at BBIG. BBIG is forking off 8%, 9% off of the 20 something percent that it had yesterday on the upside. BBIG is literally going through that interesting moment that we just witnessed on Microsoft and the SPY, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I'll be looking for this to retest the $1.80, $1.90, $1.90, $1.80 range, and I'll be looking for it to bounce off of it. If it doesn't, like right now, BBIG is technically squeezing. Look at this on a longer period time frame. Broke out of this wedge right there that I drew. This was about almost like, yeah, last week. Through this wedge, it broke out of it. You see that here to the upside. Another smaller wedge right there broke out to the upside. It's constantly making higher highs and higher lows. So as you guys can see, BBIG is actually squeezing for now. I need to see a retest break this trend that's of the higher high and the higher low, just so I can conservatively have a better standing. Have it fall, and then retest here, and then when I want to see a rebound from there. I don't want to see it break right back down, because if it does, then that's nothing but some shorts covering, and then they're right back to business again. But if it goes through it, that's it. Done deal. BBIG will have that crazy run, similar to back in 2021 and 2022, when it ran up to like 13 or 12 bucks. I remember that time. Hopefully everything is good with your Lady Grad, my friend. Keep her away from the heat. Let's see. I'm glad that it's all good in the hood, KYP. Brian Wallace, every day, same crime on AMC. I hope these criminals end up shaking a can under a bridge. Hey, I could share that sentiment, brother. $400 Tesla calls, YOLO. So I too can go to Vegas. Well, Antonio Williams, I don't know what to tell you, my friend. May the Lord send it to 400 if that's where you're at. Owning the float, is that porno music? What? What is that porno music? Let me see. I can't hear it in the background. 1 second. Oh man. That's even worse. I think that's putting everybody to sleep right there. Hold on. I don't know how that switched to that. When the downtown lights start to come out at night, we go insane, and when I arrive, I start to lose my mind, I go insane. This is called pools and beach. Are you guys at the pool and the beach? Yeah. All right. Wow, 123 degrees. Gullergrad. Wow. No, thank you. See, there you go. Have all of it, belligerent ideas. Okay. Wow, wow, what's happening here? Ooh, look, the SPY is ripping as well. Wow. What are you doing? Ooh. The SPY is trying to get to the new all-time high, literally, perhaps by the end of the week. This is not normal, people. Just so you would know. It is not normal. Wow. Wow, wow. There went that SQQ play. That's like, believe it or not, belligerent ideas, like, that's extremely good for this play. Like this, I want to see more and more of this happening, which I predict that it will be. That's why I have not actually gotten into this play yet. But I'm getting ready personally. Again, not advice to anyone, but I'm gonna get ready as soon as I see us get close. The closer I see us get to that all-time high on the SPY, that's when I will be jumping into here. Because I would, at that point, it will be kind of like a countdown effect. How far will breaking the all-time high will be, to what would be the new all-time high on the SPY, and anywhere after the breaking the all-time high for me, this is just me seeing it humbly, from just my opinion to myself, would be at that point. I mean, if it ends up going to break the 500, which is ironic that it's called the S&P 500, that even getting in over anywhere between over 475, 472, that's a only gonna respond to the SQQ being going down a little bit, but I'll start averaging down from there, which is as close as it can get to calling out the top of something, you know. They are going after it, man. That is crazy how it's being pumped. Nvidia is now being pumped as well. Plunge protection team to the rescue. To Griffins and Gates pocket rescue. Nvidia edges up as Milius Research starts with buy rating. Oh, okay. So now we got the ratings. This was an interesting one. Moderna. Okay. So yesterday I reported on the page on the YouTube community tab, and then I reported on Twitter as well, that going into the close, there was questionable plays, like option movement that happened with it, because Moderna and Pfizer, some corporates, we're all corporates, were piling up on, I'm talking about $17 million worth of puts, people. $17 million worth of puts, and they were all due this Friday. Look how crazy that is. And conveniently, not even 2 minutes later, the report comes out. Like, so the act, like the placement was in. That's what's crazy about it. And not even 2 minutes later, the report comes out of the White House saying that the allegations that Robert Kennedy Jr. Is placing about, around COVID or about COVID are fake and nonsense. And I was like, whoa, what is the irony here? And then of course today it looks like it's going up, but then seeing, like, I don't see $17 million worth of premium being put for, just for grabs, just like that, especially written just 3 days out, to expire in 3 days. So I'm looking for something here to happen for Moderna, and it doesn't have to be extremely exotic, of course, because the prices were not too far. Like, it wasn't like they were far out of the money. No, they were in the money, but like that much premium, that means somebody is in, some corporates were extremely bullish, knowing bearish 100% that the price will at least drop from the levels that they got. And I forgot exactly what strike price it was that they got it in. I think it was like around 122 or 123. I actually need to see. Yeah, so like they bought them around $122.28 when the price was at 122.28. But they were deep in the money. The strikes were 160 and 145. So basically all they need the price is to go below 122.28 at that point, probably around like just 122 even, and they will be extremely in the profit. But again, the fact that, like, you're talking about 17-18 million bucks is ludicrous to me. Somebody's extremely bullish on what they know or what they figured out. Whoa. Wow. Wow. Okay, I'll tell you guys what I'm being wowed with. At 11:48. Wow. So at 11:57, there is some huge whale bought $23.2 million worth of puts on Facebook. Meta. Wow. Look at that. let's pair it up with the timing. Right there. That's this person's order. That 23 million put order. It expires August 18th too. Wow. It brought by itself the price down $1. It's by itself. They could very well cash it out, but wow. That's insane. Almost $24 million. What do you know, corporate, that we don't know on Facebook? It's perhaps gonna go through probably the same time that this craziness will end up by August 18th. Who knows? Maybe by the end of this month, we would have reached our top and we'll be on the way down. It's the whole markets react to, the Microsoft or Meta is in the S&P 500. Wow. Right over here. This right there, as that order was being fulfilled, this whole red from that, it's just insane. Wow. KYP indeed, yes. Be nice. I missed that feeling. Well, Facebook made a 52-week high not too long ago. Remember? Yeah, right there. This was last week. Could be the beginning of the end for Facebook. Right now, this big whale that did this is technically right here already in the profit right now. They're counting money. Wow, the weird story of the day. Uh-oh, Tesla broke out of that channel to the downside. No good for Tesla. The fact it's still consolidating in this range is mind-boggling. But it's starting a new trend right here underneath it, so who knows? If this respects that right there, here I'll draw some small things. GME and AMC. AMC have been criminally dealt with for the day. As you can see, the 436 level we need to keep, at least for now. I would love us over 448. GME is forking off. They're doing the same thing with it as they did with the AMC earlier. As we can see right here, this was AMC breaking out this morning. And then since then, they have been sliding. It looks like Jimmy had the same thing right there, and then now they're taking the money out. So maybe they're just pumping it and dumping it with puts. They're basically making their own money, perhaps losing a few here and there, but that works as a great way for them to contain something, to prolong it. When people talk about prolonging, about the lawsuit in AMC, when they tell people like, hey, you want to prolong or whatever, just tell them like, you don't understand what prolonging is. Prolonging is what these institutes are doing to us on a daily basis on the options chain. Not just shorten, it's also the options chain that they're, tormenting us with on a daily basis. What's happening with the crypto market? Not much. Still also. What are you doing, markets? So it's safe to say at this point, you guys see where 450 is now? 450 is in the rear view mirror for the market. Anybody who got in right here today have perhaps made a fortune on the scalp, especially if they see, look at this line right there. I drew both of these for you guys. Look, when it broke over 451.38, it respected this line as resistance, and then it became as support as it broke out of it. And you see here, guys, this is a perfect example of what I try to reach over to you guys, is we broke that resistance level with power, which is very important. That's a momentum candle right there. Then we see us going up, and this is what I talk about when I say conservative investor. Retest that 451.38 level again. I wanted to see it come down. It did. I want to see if it stays above it and bounce off of it, not break underneath and go right back into this zone, which will keep this as strong resistance then. And then obviously you got in with calls over here. As soon as seeing this, yeah, you gotten lucky to see it go up there. But if the opposite happened, if that broke and then this came back right down through here, then you would be massively in the red. So that respect right there, this is another scalping point right there. As soon as I seen it break 451.90, I would easily at that point be saying, okay, I'm getting in right here to ultimately ride it up to see when the trend will change. And until now, it's still not even over with, because it's still respecting. Like, there will be resistance levels, support levels to see being broken before going out. But going into this trade from here all the way to up here, you'll be the greediest SOB in the world out there to not get to collect your profits and get out, especially on a weekly or on a daily. All right. See, it looks like still consolidating. The crazy part is it ran all the way here, and they effectively were able to cool off the RSI every single level. You see, massive run, little tapering, massive run, little tapering, cool off the RSI, massive run, cool off the RSI, massive run, cool off the RSI, and then perhaps getting ready, loading up to another run. Holy smokes, look at Microsoft. $15 on the day. Look at that. We witnessed it right here. Nvidia. Last week it made a high at 480. Now it's at almost dancing with that same range again. It's 1% away from getting back to that. All right, family. I think we've had enough. I need to go today. We've been on for 2 hours, which I feel like is a good amount of time. Yes, indeed. Congrats. Somebody just sent me a Facebook message about my restaurant. What are your hours? They're on the website. I'm not that person, no. I respond the right thing. Congrats to everybody, yeah, that held Microsoft calls. All right, family. It's much sooner than anticipated, but I gotta go. I gotta get ready for my prayers in about an hour. I gotta do a few runs, a few things. I gotta get something to eat. I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I got to do some things. I might pop up with a video later on today based on what's happening. I feel like there is something that's crazy or weird with, obviously it is earnings. So volatility is obvious and it's expected, but we need to see a bunch more of that happening. And let's see what happens going into the second half of this week, as in what will be in the store for tomorrow. Anything wild happens, I might pop right back up with you guys later. Don't get stuck watching the line too much, but be alert and ready for anything to happen. I appreciate you more, Mr. McCohen. Appreciate you, brother. Belligerent Ideas. Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure having you, gentlemen and ladies, in here. Love you too. as I Pete in Kenny's pool says, love y'all. So it's a general statement. Have a good day. I'm jealous from you New Mexico neighbors. Maybe I gotta move down to New Mexico. If only if they didn't have all these rattlesnakes around. But with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, family. DB Taveras, have a good one, brother. Much love, AB Investments.